Don't pour your concrete until you watch this. Mistakes to avoid. We're going to talk about 5 things in specific here on this video, but if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Make sure you put new sub down in the comments and you'll be entered into a drawing to win some of the gear that we wear, the hoodies, t-shirts, hats, stuff like that. But if you're new to concrete and you don't really know much, or you've never poured it before, you're a DIY, or you're thinking about pouring a garage floor like this, we're going to cover some of the things that you really need to know before you jump right into it. And the first one is using a laser level to set your slope. Now, if you have a garage floor and you're going to drive a vehicle in there and the vehicle gets wet from either rain, or maybe you live in an area where you get snow and ice and then that melts off it, you're going to want a little bit of slope on that garage floor that goes out the garage door. Or maybe you've got a center drain in it, but we're going to talk about slopes here. So you've got to use a laser level to set your outside grades, and that's what we do. So we set up a self-leveling laser. We have a grade stick with a receiver on it, and if you want to learn more about this in detail, you can go to the Concrete Underground. I have a link for that down in the description. I go into great detail about teaching you how to do all this stuff in the Concrete Underground, but let's just briefly go over some of the stuff here. So the self-leveling laser, I can establish my top of concrete grade, my floor grade, with that using the receiver and the grade stick. So then I mark at the bottom of the grade stick the height of my concrete floor with a pencil on all 4 corners, and then we snap a chalk line on the foundation, on the inside of the foundation, and that's what I'm using to mag float the concrete to. That I'm right there in the yellow. The boys are raking the concrete around. They're getting it up to as close to that chalk line as they can without burying it. And then I come behind them and I mag float that nice and smooth, and that establishes my grade. Now when I shoot the back here, this is the back of the garage we're starting at. I shoot that at a certain level, a certain height. And then as I go towards the front with my laser level, I drop that grade maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half, sometimes even 2 inches, depending on, it's usually about 1/8 of an inch per foot, but it depends on how deep the garage is. So let's just say I dropped it about 1.5 inches in this garage. So the concrete floor is going to slope towards the garage door. And you're not even really going to be able to tell in the video that it's sloped, but it is, because you use the laser level to set your grades and check it with. So that's a whole art in itself, knowing how to use a laser level and how to set slopes with it and stuff like that. But you kind of really need to know that stuff for the proper drainage in a garage floor like this. The second thing you really need to know is when you order your concrete, like you're going to call up a concrete company, talk to the dispatcher and tell him what mix you want, or maybe you're going to ask him what mix you want if you don't know. I'll just tell you the mix that we use for garage floors like this. So I call him up and I say, I need so-and-so yards. Let's say on a job like this, it's 4 yards of 3,500 PSI concrete with fiber mesh. I want half air entrainment. We use air entrainment because we live in Maine. We get a lot of freeze-thaw cycles. If you don't live in an area where your concrete's going to freeze and thaw in the winter, then you don't need air entrainment. So that's kind of all you need to know about that in this video. So I tell them half air. I go mid-range water reducer. So what the water reducer does, it allows us to pour a very loose mix. This is about a 6.5 inch slump. And you can learn all about slumps on Google, but slump is basically how wet or how dry the concrete is. So I tell them I want the mid-range water reducer. I'm going to be pouring about a 6 or a 6.5 inch slump. That makes it really easy to pull around, easy to screed, easy to mag float, and as you'll see here in a few minutes, easy to bow float. So you ask them for the mid-range water reducer, and they'll add that at the concrete plant when they batch out the concrete. Then you can get your 6 to 6.5 inch slump, and it should look really similar to this. Not wetter than this, not drier than this. It should flow just like this here. So the third thing you really want to kind of understand about concrete is concrete will pull moisture up from the subbase below right up through it, and then it'll act like your concrete floor is either darker spots or damp on the surface, and you really need to put like a vapor barrier underneath the concrete. Now with this floor right here, the builder actually did the floor prep, so he put down a 15 mil vapor barrier And then he put 2 inches of styrofoam over that. And we're pouring actually on the styrofoam. So what you saw, that gray stuff, was 2 inches of styrofoam. And that's just building code, Maine. Where you are, you might not need the styrofoam. It's really not it's not needed for, structural part of the floor or anything like that. It's just basically Maine's heating code is we need to put styrofoam down. So the vapor barrier is going to block any moisture that might come up from the ground below, up from the subbase, go right up through the concrete and end up on the surface of the floor. And that's a real pain in the butt, especially if you have summers that are really hot and humid. It's just going to draw the moisture right up through the concrete, and you're going to have to deal with that issue. And then if you want to maybe do an epoxy coating over your floor, that moisture can just peel and blister the epoxy right off, the vapor transmission right up through the concrete. It carries a lot of pressure with it, and it'll just ruin your epoxy coating. So make sure that you put a vapor barrier under your concrete floor, and you'll be happy you did later on. Now, screeding the concrete, getting it flat or getting it level, that's what Darren's doing right there. He's using about a 9-foot screed. That's a magnesium screed. You could use a 2x4 or a really flat one if you're doing it just once. And he's just kind of kick screeding. He's kicking in his footprints as he's screeding the concrete backwards. So that's how we screed the concrete. I mag float the edges to the chalk line, gives him something to go by as he's screeding. And then when he screeds the concrete like that, he's kind of watching the ends of the screed to make sure they're leaving what I call a little score mark on where I mag floated the ends of the screed. If you can see where you scored on the end, then you're right at the level you need to be. If you see you're digging in on the end, maybe more than 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, then you're getting it a little bit too low on that end. Or if it doesn't score at all, if it doesn't leave any little bit of a line, then you're riding high on that end. You're going to have a little bit of a hump in the floor. So again, all the techniques I teach in the Concrete Underground, you can check them out in there. So screeding the concrete is definitely something that takes a little practice to learn for sure. But if you watch enough of my videos and you listen to me explain how to do it, at least you have a basic idea of what you're doing when the concrete shows up and it comes ready, time ready to screed it. And then the fifth thing, and lastly, you'll see here in a minute, is we're going to bull float this concrete. So when we screed the concrete like this, right, when we strike it off, you can still see a lot of the aggregate. This has 3/4 inch stone in it. You can still see a lot of aggregate right at the surface. And you kind of need to settle that aggregate a little bit and bring up the paste in the concrete so the surface is a lot smoother than this when you go to finish it. There's going to be some set time between after you get this bull floated. We'll bull float this just in a minute as soon as Darren's done screeding. I'll show you what that looks like. But after you bull float it, usually there's some lag time, some wait time for the concrete to set up and get really firm before you can get back on it and start finishing the concrete. Now today, I don't have it in this video, but we just hand finished the concrete. Darren and Luke, they waited around for an hour and a half, wait for it to get firm, and then they got back on it with metal skids, and they mag floated it and steel troweled it out just using a hand trowel. And that's part of the finishing you need to learn if you want to get some really nice finishes on your concrete. But first, if you don't know how to screed it like this, like Darren just did, that's the first part of finishing, really, getting this flat, getting it to the slope you need to get it to. You don't want any low spots. You don't really want any high spots, obviously. And then, the next real big trick is learning how to bull float. Like when I have a new person, one of the two first things I teach them how to do is how to rake the concrete around like we were doing when we started. We just pull it and push it, get it to grade, how to rake behind the screed. And then the second thing I teach them how to do is the bull float right here. Bull floating is really relatively easy. You can see as Darren pushes that towards you and then now he pulls it away from you, he makes sure the edge of the bull float that's in the direction of the way the bull float's going is tipped up a little bit so it's not digging in. So he tips that front edge up maybe 3/8 to 1/2 inch. He goes across the surface nice and slow, and that settles the aggregate in the concrete a little bit just below the surface and kind of brings up a paste. You can see how that smooths it off really nice. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow, but just, you know, down and back. And if you have the water reducer in it at the right slump, it's kind of just down and back once, like Darren's doing right here, is all you really need to do. So he'll do these 3 passes across this garage, and I think he's going to do another one in the middle just to kind of flatten out those lines he's leaving just a little bit better. He's kind of fussy about that, but really, once he pulls this one back, he could leave it like this and walk away, and then we could just wait for it to set up enough to get on it to finish. But, you know, those are really 5 really key things that, you know, if you don't know those 5 things right there, you're going to be in trouble if you just try to go out and pour concrete on your own. You're not going to know where to start, what to look for. You know, your grades could be all messed up. Your screeding's got to be, you got to have that thing screeded right if you're going to spend this kind of money. Concrete's really expensive. So it's, you know, $200 a yard times 4 yards is $800 plus tax, plus you might have a small load charge because it's only 4 yards. So you might have $1,000 just in concrete right here just to get this little garage floor done. So anyway, if you're new to my channel, you know, consider subscribing. Make sure you put new sub in the comments. If you got a question about this video, leave it in the comments. I'll talk to you about it down there. There's going to be a couple other videos pop up right here, so make sure you check each one of these out. They'll be kind of related to this one, so you can learn a little bit more about concrete.
It was like 24 hours, I think, after. Yeah. So it might have just been a little too soon. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Do you want more